Okay, we'd like to welcome Viktor Hovland to the interview room here at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Viktor, a very special place for you here at Pebble Beach. What's it like to be back?
Yeah, it's really fun. Played here every year in college and played the USAM, US Open, and then I played here the first year as a pro. So gotten to play Pebble a lot of times, but it's been 3 years since then. So it's really cool to come back and get a reminder of how special the place really is.
When looking at your stats, you made a start here at Pebble in 2020 and then went to win in your next start. Anything to adding this back to your schedule?
I never thought about that, to be honest, but I guess that's a cool thing. But I would like to win this week, so we'll start with that.
Making your fifth start of the tour season, first since Century Tournament Champions. Just some comments on your form heading into the week.
Yeah, I took some time off over the break and was very rusty in Hawaii. So I've had 3 good weeks to practice and feel like I'm kind of getting back into it. And it's going to be a lot of golf going forward the next few weeks. So trying to get into a good rhythm and feel like the ball striking's coming back.
Good. With that, we'll open up to questions. If you have a question, just raise your hand.
Let's start with Mary Kate.
Okay. MK?
You're in the early stages of your 4th season on tour. When you look back to your rookie year, what is the most significant way you've grown, would you say?
Yeah, it feels like a long time ago, but time has gone by very quickly. I would say when I first came out, I had maybe not as high of a ceiling, but what I really thought I did a great job of was that I was very consistent. Like I had one shot, and I would kind of hit that regardless of what the hole or where the wind was coming from. I would just find a way to fit that little cut in everywhere, and sometimes that bothered me a little bit because I felt like I capped myself. But at the same time, it's very valuable to have something or a ball flight that you know what it's going to do. You might not hit it perfect, but you at least know where it's going to go. You can play smart, you can play away from trouble and stuff like that. So I'm trying to kind of get more of that consistency back a little bit, but at the same time, I've got more speed. I can hit it higher. I can draw it. I'm a way better putter, and I feel like my short game's really starting to come around. So I'm a way better player than I was back then, but yeah, I really appreciated the consistency I had in my ball flight back then.
Joel?
You've had success here, not only at Pebble, but just at the U.S. Open, the USGA. What about this place really speaks to your game?
I mean, I really like that the greens are small, and you got to drive it well. There are some tricky tee shots out here, but if you can put the ball in the fairway, it's a lot of short irons into these small greens, and I just really think it fits my game. I remember, especially the U.S. Open, I don't think I missed a fairway on the front nine the whole tournament and only missed a handful of fairways the whole week, and I was able to just kind of give myself a lot of birdie looks. And you do that out here when the conditions get a little tough, you're going to gain some shots.
Doug?
Go back to something Mary Kate was asking, because you've been good for a long time, but you're good coming out on tour. And it seems like there's a number of players who when they are good, and they reach that next really big stage, I have to get better. And you spoke more of the consistency, which obviously would build into confidence with the start you had. Were you ever tempted to try and raise your game to the level that you were now playing at, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, I think that's. It's could be a trap. Like a lot of guys when they first come out. You're standing right next to Rory. A lot of guys that have done well for a long time, and you look, and man, that looks really nice. And not that I was doubting myself, but it's like you always want to try to kind of elevate your game, and I think that is a good direction to try to go with your game. But you got to be also careful what you're risking as well, and just be cognizant that okay, how do we get better with the least amount of risk involved, and you don't want to change who you are as a player to get to that next step. And I think that's a struggle that we're always kind of battling, because you want to get better without getting worse.
What brings you here? Why do you keep playing?
What's that?
What brings you here to Pebble?
Well, I wanted to play last week. I just didn't quite feel like I was ready to.
Hang on, last week in
Torrey.
or Dubai?
Yeah.
Okay.
Torrey, yeah.
Okay.
It's just been too much traveling, so I wanted to stay in the States. But I wanted to play last week. I love Torrey. Just didn't quite feel like I was ready. But I really got the itch to play, and I just entered this week. And as I said, it's been 3 years since last time I was here, and just felt like it was time to come back.
You like it here, though?
Yeah, I love it.
So that leads to my weird question, Victor. Do you watch a lot of women's golf?
I do not.
Would you find yourself inclined to tune in to the Women's Open this year, which is being at Pebble for the first time?
I actually didn't know that.
Just because of
yeah. Yeah, sure.
I'm not holding you to it. I'm just curious if having your success here at the Amateur and Open, if the course is such that would make you curious to see how it goes.
Yeah, I always enjoy watching golf on TV if I've been to the course before, because you're familiar with some of the shots, and I think it's very impressive to watch women's golf when you just always hitting fairways, and the greens out here are so small and just don't seem to make mistakes. So I really appreciate watching that.
I'll give Joel a chance to talk in a minute, but speaking of the homeland, did you pay much attention to Suzanne Pedersen when you were a kid?
A little bit, yeah, of course. I remember when she won at Evian, and I mean, she's been such a great player for a long time, and I think a lot of people back home looked up to her.
I'm done. Sorry.
Short game is a focus for you and improvement. What exactly have you been working on? Where do you feel like you are in terms of that range of where you ultimately want to go with your short game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one thing is that a lot of what you do in the short game is usually just an abbreviation of what you do in the full swing. But what I do in the full swing does not necessarily lend itself for good short game technique. So I've just had to find ways to make my short game work without, as I said earlier, changing kind of my DNA. And for me, I've had to try to turn my pivot, or I had to pivot a little bit more with my body and lower body instead of just using all my arms. The number one thing is that my left arm kind of gets disconnected from my upper body, and that just tends to lean the shaft. So I'm trying to kind of use my upper body more to control the speed of the shot, and almost feel like my head is raising up and getting out of the ground, because you don't have speed or time as a luxury in the short game. So you gotta find a way to shallow the club out without turning your body or bending the left arm. So for me, I've been just focusing on almost like standing up a little bit, and it's helped.
We got a question from Ben in the back.
You had posted a fun Instagram post yesterday, just creating a cool shot you had back in 2018. Can you just tell us about that shot back in 2018 and how cool it was trying to recreate it yesterday?
Yeah, I remember they put the tee up in the match play, and I think I hit driver every time the tee was up there, and I hit great shots there, but that one time I sliced it a little bit, and it just rolled down there in the ice plant, and I was expecting to just take a drop up there and try to make an up and down for a par, because Devin had hit it in the left bunker. But then I go down there, and I see I have a great lie, so I just figured, okay, I'll go down there and try to hit it. And as I walked down there, I couldn't really see the pin or anything, and just opened up a sand wedge and hit it pretty hard, and walk up there, and it's a tap in for a birdie. I end up winning the hole. So that was very special moment, and haven't been back there since then. So I figured, why not go down there and try it again.
Last one. What's your favorite hole on the course?
That's a good one. There's so many iconic shots. Seven's awesome. Really like the second shot on 6, second shot on 8. 18's really cool. I mean, there's so many just spectacular shots. I mean, gotta go with 18, even though it's probably a little bit cliche, but 18's pretty cool.
Thank you.
What's the most boring hole on the course?
10 maybe. up the hill there, or is that, no, that's 11. 11's a bit boring. I would say 15 is kind of not a nothing hole, but it doesn't quite fit the rest of the holes, I would say.
Have you ever played 10 on that forward? Have you seen the forward tee?
On the right? Yeah, we play there in the USAM 2 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's a pretty cool hole because it's a really tough driving hole, and I hit driver a couple of times, and you give yourself a wedge, but it's a tough tee shot, and the further you go, and if you pull it, you bail out from the water, well, now you're in the rough, and especially when they put those pins in the back left, you got no angle. So it's a tricky shot. Either you just lay up and give yourself a longer club back, or you take on driver, but then you got to really, really be aggressive. So I think it's, completely changes the hole.
Just go ahead. Go. Yeah, just.
It was just a Stillwater question.
Yeah,
Hey, are you still there?
I am, yeah.
What would be like a daily routine in Stillwater, and have you ever considered moving? And I mean, nothing bad about Stillwater.
Yeah, no, I love it there, but I am starting to kind of feel like might be time for change. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, but I'm thinking about something. But especially this time of the year, it gets pretty cold. So I'm not getting up in the morning early to go out and practice. I get up and get some breakfast and kind of sit around and chill, maybe go and work out. And then I usually go out to the course at lunchtime and we'll practice for a couple hours and maybe go play with the guys on the golf team. So that's kind of.
What do you do for fun in Stillwater?
I just take it easy. I'll go out to dinner with a couple of the guys, but that's about it. I just kind of enjoy being in Stillwater, just kind of doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, trying to get better. And it's more, I get to do more things when I'm out traveling. And it's usually pretty busy. So then when I'm home, I like to just kind of lay flat and take it easy.
Do you fly private?
Occasionally, yeah.
Okay. If you don't, what's your airport?
Stillwater Airport. So it's 5 minutes away from my house, and free parking. So that's nice. And goes a couple flights a day to Dallas. So it's pretty easy. You get to Dallas, you can fly anywhere. So. It's it's a nice thing to have there.
Joel, I think you have a question.
Well, actually, sticking on that, in the past when we've asked you about why you still lived in Stillwater, the response was you were just another guy there. You were with your friends that kept you grounded. When you look for this new place, how do you kind of keep that mentality of just kind of staying a normal guy and not be caught up sometimes in the trappings of fame that come with being a PGA Tour player? Yeah,
that's not really something that I think about all that much. It's just kind of a byproduct of being Stillwater. I think that's a great thing. But, the other priorities is who do I have to hang out there? Is the golf course any good? Do I get to kind of do whatever I want, or is it really strict with a lot of rules? How's the weather? There's a lot of other things that kind of come before that. But well-being is important. You don't want to be in a place where you don't feel like you belong or where you kind of have to tiptoe your way around, or you can't do the things that you want to do. So obviously that plays a role.
Is there anyone, you're viewed, especially by your peers, as someone who is very grounded and humble? Is there anyone you kind of take that direction from on tour?
Yeah, we've been lucky going to Oklahoma State. You get to meet a lot of the guys that played for us and that were out on tour. Just spending time with Ricky when we were in school was really cool to see. He had a kind of superstar fame to him, but you wouldn't really know when you hang out with him and talk to him. He's just kind of a regular guy. And I'd say the same with hanging out with Charles Howell when I first came out on tour. We're lucky we have a cool fraternity at Oklahoma State where most of the guys here are very grounded and they always want the best for you. So if you reach out and have any questions, they're there for you and want to help out. So that's really cool to see.
Do you ever spend any time with Scott playing?
I do occasionally when I go down to Oak Tree, because I'll play there probably a couple times a week. And every time I go down there, he's always hanging out and working on his game and trying to get better. So, yeah, I mean, he's a cool guy, and he's very smart, and he's very opinionated as well. So it's fun to kind of ask him some questions and hear what he has to say. Yeah, it's just always a cool hang to go down there and see him and some of the other legends around there.
Last thing I wanted to ask Victor was back to this tournament for a minute. The pro-am portion of the tournament. Do you like it? Is it, or is it more of a grind?
I don't mind it, but I prefer to play fast, and I'm here to obviously try to win the golf tournament. So it depends on the partner as well, I think. But obviously you want to have fun and play well. But I think there's if the weather's nice, you have a good partner, and you're playing well. I mean, I think it almost accentuates the experience a little bit. But then at the same time, if the weather's bad and you don't get along with your partner and you're playing bad, that's the flip side of it. So, but I do enjoy it. I think it's very unique to be able to play a PGA Tour event with an amateur, and you get to kind of have a little bit of a different feel to it. It feels more relaxed.
Can you imagine this tournament without it? Although, I guess, did you play during the COVID year?
No, I did not. So, yeah, that'd be a different... is that what they did when they had the tournament here last time? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that would have been a little different dynamic. Just maybe feels a little bit empty. It feels like it's more of a happening now when you get some celebrities, you get a lot more. It just feels like there's more going on. So, and I think Pebble and this area deserves that.
And I know you weren't here last year, but with Jordan Spieth second at 8, did you see that? What was your take on it? Would you do the same shot if you had that situation?
Yeah, it's actually crazy because I remember at the U.S. Amateur here, my good buddy, Zach Boshu, he did the exact same thing. I think he hit a 3-wood off the tee there, and he had 2 holes left, and I think he had to shoot even the last 2 holes or something like that, maybe 1 over to get into a playoff or something for the match play, and he was in the exact same spot. There's a video on his Facebook or something where he hits the shot, but I think he was... I can't quite remember Jordan's follow through, but it was almost like you're trying to fall over backwards to make sure you're not ending up down in there. We played Pebble yesterday, and we walked up there just to see, and it seems like they've grown up the rough there to try to prevent balls to kind of sit on the edge there. So it's it's a pretty scary shot looking down there. It's probably a good 100 feet down there. So it's yeah. Not really, but I think if you're not afraid of that shot, that's not very rational.
All right. Before you go, I do have 3 questions from Norway, if you don't mind answering in Norwegian. If you want to sit, you're fine.
Yep.
First question, you've had 3 weeks off since Century. What have you been focusing on in your off time?
Ja, for det meste bare fokusert på å jobbe litt med svingen, føle å få ballflekten litt mer på plass igjen. Ballen har gått litt for mye til venstre når jeg har prøvd å slå en fade, og det ikke en veldig bra kombinasjon. Så bare jobbe litt med et par svingtanker og forsikre meg om at ballen skrur riktig vei.
With all the special memories here, just how much does Pebble Beach mean to you?
Ja, det kult sted, ass. Tatt det nesten litt for gitt, for jeg har spilt der så veldig mange ganger. Nå som ikke har vært der på 3 år, kommet tilbake og se det igjen og glemt hvordan det så ut litt. Så det kult å komme tilbake og huske litt på de gamle slagene som jeg har slått der og den suksessen jeg har hatt der. Så det spesielt å komme tilbake.
And what are your thoughts on the Pro-Am format, both good and bad?
Ja, jeg synes det litt morsomt å mikse det opp litt. Man får en litt annen opplevelse ut av det. Blir kjent med nye mennesker og får prate om litt annet enn bare golf og bare være i 100% fokus. Jeg synes det litt sunt. Samtidig så kommer det nok å gå litt tregere denne uka, og det kan være en liten tålmodighetstest, men det vet man jo før man har startet, så det bare å forberede seg til det.
Great. Thank you, Victor, for your time.
Thank you.